of giants in the age of life. When things were created and there were giants around the world, they said that they were 12 feet tall and 15 feet tall, that sort of thing. Atanatu was supposed to be an age where a world flood happened. You are all probably familiar with the fact that many, many cultures have their own version of a flood that happened around the world. It seems to be prevalent in almost every culture, actually. In Quiatanatu, they said that there was a fiery destruction or a period of fiery destruction. These are all large gaps of time between these ages. And then Ekanadatu, or Ekat, you guys try to say it. Men were lost. Men lost their speech, kind of like apes. So they stopped being able to communicate with each other. This age actually ended in 3797 BC, which is about the same time that a lot of other cultures started keeping track of their time, writing things down, developing calendars, that sort of thing. And then the last one actually ends in December 21, 2012. And so, unlike the Mayan calendar, the Aztec calendar actually seems to stop there. The Mayan calendar, they say, this is this Baktun, this set of 400 years, and we're expecting another one after that, sort of thing. We'll see more of that later. The Mayans selected December 21, 2012, about 1,500 years ago, as the end of this age. And so I'm going to tell you a few of the different things that people who I've talked to, what their opinion is about the Mayan prophecies specifically. Anthropologists say it'll just begin again. It's the end of almost like a millennium to them. It's the end of a millennium, they're expecting another one. Kind of like 2000 came for us, and we expected that time would continue and that the world would not be destroyed. A lot of people did expect the world to be destroyed in 2000, but anthropologists didn't. Scientists say it's interesting year astronomically. You might know that in 2008, we began a new solar cycle. And what that means is that every about 14 years, there's a peak in the amount of solar activity as far as sunspots are concerned. And that means that it's going to be throwing off all kinds of geomagnetic repulsions, and there's going to be solar storms. And basically what that means for Earth is that every once in a while we'll get this arm of kind of fiery plasma stuff coming towards Earth, and we see what's called aurora borealis, or the northern lights. Sometimes when they're really strong, they'll knock out satellites. They can distort they can charge the power grid around the United States, and we actually had a big blackout a while back because of that. Very interesting. And the climax of this time of solar activity is right at the end of 2012, and then it degrades back down until 2014 or 15. So, interesting astronomically. Christians say maybe Satan has plans for that date now, like he put it in his calendar, that sort of thing. The New Age adherents say it's the New Age. It's when we're going to begin being enlightened. We're going to assume the body of a god, or move into an understanding of that God is everywhere, and that we're part of that continuum. And we're not there yet, but in 2012 is when that begins for New Age individuals. You see, if you go into the bookstore, kind of near the Christian section, there's a New Age section. They sell witchcraft books and that sort of thing. In that section, you would find a lot of books that say how to survive 2012, that sort of thing. That's where most 2012 books are actually found. On the History Channel, they say it's total destruction, or maybe just a New Age. They say that at the end. The extremists say we're buying so much rice and a gun, and we're going to survive. The skeptics say we're looking forward to the Olympics and an election. And your aunt may say, oh, we've been through this before. Remember 2000 or remember 1956? Yeah. And your mom might say, I haven't heard of that thing. What's 2012? Now, it is not a hidden fact that we've had end of the world prophecies before. We've had quite a few, actually. In 1000 AD, Many people thought that it was going to be the second coming. We're going to take a closer look at this end of the year prophecy in a minute. They thought that God was going to come, destroy the earth, take people to heaven, that sort of thing. Those 3 zeros have a big effect on people's hearts for some reason. In 1666, supposed to be the Antichrist. Many people thought that because of the 3 sixes. But there's also 1 in there, so it kind of throws it off. And that was kind of their excuse afterward. Oh, it wasn't actually year 666. I don't know why there wasn't a big deal in the actual year 666, but there wasn't. In 1844, there was a group of people in the United States called the Advents, and they thought that God was going to be coming, and so they had a great disappointment. Has anybody heard of this before, this particular one? It's kind of famous. They all went up to a rock, stood on there together expecting God would come, and he did not come that day. And there was a lot of crying, In 1998, we're going to jump forward a few years. We had Eli Eshach, and he said that there was going to be the rapture that year, that people were going to just disappear. The cars were going to run into each other, that sort of thing. In the year 2000, you guys all remember Y2K, the computer virus, or the computer glitch, where we weren't going to be able to progress to the next part of our calendar and our computers, and it was going to throw things off. It wasn't the only prophecy in year 2000, and we'll see how many there actually were in a minute, because I made you a graph. Aren't you happy? In 2003, there was a comet headed, and science said, if this comet hits us, then there could be a problem. And other people said, if that comet comes near us, it's bringing aliens. We're going to be looking in a couple of days, or actually tomorrow, at the kind of different genres of apocalyptic prophecies that have been given out to the world to ingest. 2008, according to the Bible code, there was supposed to be a world war. 2012, well, we're familiar with that one, aren't we? So I'll skip that. In 2028, there is supposed to be an asteroid, or was supposed to be an asteroid. I put expired science because this year they discovered that as it got closer, that their calculations made it so that it was pretty much impossible for it to hit Earth. If it did hit Earth, it's possible that we'd become extinct. So that would have been bad, but that's now expired. In 2280, the Quran code said that because of tectonics and volcanoes and that sort of thing, that the world was going to be destroyed. Again, 3797. Who's heard of Nostradamus? Yeah? Nostradamus said, my prophecies will extend until 3797. Science says in about 1 million AD, they're expecting a gamma ray burst from the sun as it begins to go into the next phase of its development. And that phase ends in 4,500,000,000 AD when it goes to red giant. And that means that the diameter of the sun would increase to such a great distance that Earth would be consumed as the border of the sun passes that part of the solar system. So, scary sounding, no? But some of these have passed already. I decided to look up on Google what Google said about apocalyptic prophecies, and just to see how many pages showed up, So I typed in Earth destroyed by atomic bomb, and it said 70,900 related things. These are very vague, it's not very scientific, so this is just kind of for fun. 365,000 for a comet, 4 million for the Mayan prophecies, so it's higher than the other things. 21 million for, just the word apocalypse in general. That part is covered up on my screen for some reason. Some people think there is going to be destroyed by aliens, and so there's 103,000 pages about. And if we skip down to the bottom, just to throw out, some crazy thing, we see that 6,020 pages are related to Earth being destroyed by bubblegum somehow. So, here's the chart I was promising you. This is how many apocalyptic prophecies have happened during the centuries. I did an incredible amount of research to find this information, and after year 0, about 70 AD, was the first apocalyptic prophecy to come to fruition. So there's a bunch of people living in the city of Thessalonica, and they thought, Jesus is coming back. He was here about 40 years ago, and we expect him to be back soon. And so they threw a party and sold a bunch of their stuff, and then that did not happen, and then they went back to living as normal, except the people that sold all their stuff. And that is going to be kind of a theme